Okay. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for making it today. So today we're going to be talking about I am still PTK. So my name is Brandon, as you know. I'm from the Omicron Psi chapter. I have served in several different positions, a chapter officer, regional officer. I'm currently serving on the Alumni Advisory Board. And I will tell you that I love Phi Theta Kappa. I'm sure you do too, that's why you're here. So one of the questions that a lot of people have is, what do you do after you graduate? And that's a question that I thought about a lot too. So just a little bit about me, as you see in my picture, that is for when I was an international officer candidate. I got to speak in front of 4,000 people. And even though that is about 5 years old, I keep that because it reminds me of a time that I got to really help students overcome barriers and talk to them about overcoming barriers. And so I use that as my main picture. So it keeps me on track on why I do the things that I do. I am currently a student at UTSA, and I also serve on the Texas leadership team as the director of sponsorship. Neel?
Hi, everybody. So my name is Neel Dodhia, and I have my alma mater is Collin College, and my chapter is Alpha Mu Tau. So I have been with Alpha Mu Tau for the past 3 years, and just recently I have graduated. So although I'm not in the United States right now, I am in Kenya, but I have been wanting to help my chapter and help because I really love Phi Theta Kappa. I've just been wanting to help out in any way possible. So that's why I've been really active and just giving back what I received. So I realized that there is a lot more that you can do without being a member or officer at your college.
All right. So you've graduated. Now, when did you graduate?
Well, I graduated in May 2020, but I actually became an alumni in December 2020.
Awesome. So what do you do now?
Currently, I'm working 2 jobs. Yeah.
So as far as Phi Theta Kappa, we've graduated, we're getting jobs, we're going on to our transfer universities. And a lot of us have the questions of, we spent so much time writing those hallmarks, putting in those presentations, college project, honors in action, and now what? So one of the neat things is that you can become active with your alma mater. I know I do a lot with my chapter, Omicron Psi, Neel with Alpha Mu Tau. We have options of joining the TRAA, Alumni Advisory Board members, and your transfer institution. So what are some ways that you're still engaged with your chapter?
Well, as with my chapter, what I have been helping out with is, doing preparation for inductions behind the scene. So things like helping the officers get their scripts or presentations on, and also I helped edit and proofread the hallmarks in December.
Wow. Yeah, I know that's one of the things that I know Omicron Psi really relies on and love is that during that hallmark season, reaching out to them as far as editing goes and making sure that we're staying with the rubrics. I know one of the things that they allow me, I use that word allow, because I think that it is a privilege to be able to go back and serve my college, to do parts of leadership training. Do you do anything like that? Any web programming or anything like that?
Yeah, actually, before I became an alumni, Dr. Hargis, my advisor, she had set up uh, this like training where officers, outgoing officers help the incoming officers, and so it's just like basically where you try to mentor the people in your chapter, or do workshops like hallmark writing workshops, or how to lead meetings. And so that's how I have seen more of the previous alumni engaging with the chapter in terms of mentoring and training officers.
So you told me a quote about how to become engaged with your local chapter. And it was something about if you want to be active, you just tell them about having free time. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the fastest way to get something done, like you tell someone that you have free time, and that's how actually Dr. Hargis gets me to do things. I'm like, hey, I have free time. Do you need help? And she'll be like, haha, okay, so XYZ, do it.
Awesome. So one of the things that you mentioned earlier is that you get to help out kind of with inductions. So what type of things do you get to do?
So, okay, pre-COVID, what I used to see was, you're just doing this behind the scenes. You're not doing anything upfront. You're not taking charge, but you're helping out with the chapter induction, like setting up, if there's taking care of any sort of logistics, if your chapter does those sort of things. So like my chapter, we have a small dinner sort of ceremony. So it's a little bit intimate with the inductees and the parents. But now, because of things that have become online, what the alumni do is just helping proofread the scripts, making sure that things behind the scenes are running well, like PowerPoint presentations if you're using those, or sending out invitations and things like that.
And I can imagine definitely for Dr. Hargis and the advisors that that's probably a great help, because that's one less thing that they have to worry about. And to make a comment on proofreading the scripts and things like that, I think that's vitally important. As a regional officer, for instance, there was this one time that we were at an induction and really excited to celebrate these newly inducted members. However, the person speaking said newly indicted members. So yeah, so I think that's vitally important. For instance, some of the workshops that I do for Omicron Psi is the talking about recruitment. I think it's vitally important that we have that knowledge, we have that skill set, because we've already gone through that, to go back and really talk about project management and how to really manage that semester-long project if that's something that they've never been through, especially if it's a new officer team. So regionally, we have the TRAA. Let me pull up this other screen. So you might be wondering what the TRA does. I think a better question is, what does the TRAA not do? Now, let me get my notes. Sorry about that. Starting at the chapter level, the TRA, they do workshops such as hallmark writing. Typically, when things are in the normal, pre-COVID everything, we do send representatives to headquarters to get that knowledge of anything that have changed. And then the TRA, they come back and offer workshops for our fellow chapters so they have the most up-to-date knowledge. Some of the other things that they do is they offer their services for judging. I'm not sure if you know this, but they actually judge the poster projects, they judge the yearbooks, they judge scholarships, they really, anything that they can help judge with, they are there, absolutely. One of the things that I absolutely love about the TRA is the fact that they raise money. I can tell you personally, I know anytime someone brings money to Linder, she is absolutely excited about that. Some of the ways that they do that is selling the bottled water at conventions. I don't necessarily think that it's selling bottled water. I think that they are selling small portions of scholarships and you get a bottled water with it. Now that money that goes to the Golden Opportunity Scholarships for our current students, it goes to some of our other scholarships. And I think that that's, an awesome thing that they do. As you see in the picture, you're seeing some tables from UNT. That's kind of what I do as far as an alum. As director of sponsorship, I work with our four-year university partners and make sure that they stay engaged with us in forms of gifts to help us with our programming. The current leadership team, the ones who does the planning, including the ROs and those who sit on the leadership team, I really consider them the skeleton of what we see in programming. However, the TRA, they're kind of the muscles. They help all that programming that they put together, they put that in motion. So you might see Bill, he's one of our alumni, putting up, our screens and, running the media. You're going to see Isaac, who also helps with the media. You'll see a lot of alumni just kind of there during that time at convention, running around, making sure that everything happens. They're kind of the gophers. They go here, they go there, they go pretty much anywhere Linder asks them to. They each have a district that they are part of, and they do plan district events. I know back when I was a regional officer, they did plan an event out at the lake for District 2. And so I think that that's pretty neat. Now, the way that they are set up is what we kind of see as what at the chapter level, right? So they do kind of mock exactly what we've already been through as alumni. We do have the TRA president, president-elect, vice president, so on and so forth. Now, one of the things that I want you to do is anyone who's watching this, if you will get that QR code, take your phone out. Yep, go ahead, take a picture. So that QR code, it's going to take you to the TRA page. It has, if you're not a member of the TRA, it has the application on there. I suggest getting that ready and filled out. And then it also takes you to the link on our TXPTK page also. So alumni advisory board members. There are 29 regions throughout the US for Phi Theta Kappa, and there are 29 alumni advisory board members. Obviously, I serve the Texas region, being from Texas, but here are the other 28 alumni advisory board members. Now, what do? We are the liaison from headquarters to the regional alumni associations, and also kind of networking and basically doing whatever the regional coordinator, Professor Linder, says to do. It's really interesting. Right now, we are going through a phase of kind of figuring out exactly how we can better help the society, not only at the regional level, but how we can be, steward of Phi Theta Kappa. So, Neil, what are some benefits that you think is important as a alumni?
Well, I like that you asked that question because, there's so many alumni that are actively engaged and, we're doing all this work, but that means that what am I getting back in return? Sometimes people are asking those sort of questions. So I see that, at the chapter level, if you have been helping out with your alma mater, you can definitely be you can definitely be nominated for the Alumni Appreciation Award. And this is both at the international level and at the regional level. So you get the chance of being recognized, and it would definitely help you stand out on the resume.
Okay,
but
hold on.
At the same time,
so you're telling me alumni get bling?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I know that James has won at the regional level, and I know that another Jen Morrow from my chapter, she also won. So it's something that to look forward to, and it helps you on your resume. But not only that, you're mentoring your chapter, and organizations see that. You have that sort of you're gaining that sort of valuable experience from transitioning from a member or officer to a mentor. This would show employers that you're a bigger team player and you care about the bigger picture and not just hoarding the information to yourself. and it shows the intent to create successful leaders, and it would definitely be a greater milestone in your leadership journey. So there's just not only the bling, but it also comes with some invaluable experience of mentoring people. And for me, I think that's the seller. I would want to do that.
That's
What
awesome.
about you?
Well, I think one of the things I want to do is I believe we probably have some alumni here in the group. So is there any current alumni who would like to talk about some of the benefits that they found so far about being an alum? Not all at once, calm down.
Well, with my camera on, so I'll say hello. The long and the short of what I've really enjoyed doing is being able to continue to contribute and serve the region where I can. So like Neil, I've stayed involved with my chapter and offered free time and been promptly put to work ever since graduation. But it's very fulfilling to have the opportunity to serve the region, and it just widens the scope, right? I get to help plan with the TRAA to help set up events at a larger level, just so more students can get involved. Working with Colin is wonderful. It's even that much more fulfilling for me to get to work at a little bit larger scale, a little bit larger scope, and bring our mission to everyone in the region wherever possible. And I have a lot of like-minded people that tell jokes that nobody else outside of Phi Theta Kappa gets, and my alumni friends get those jokes. But nothing but good things so far. I couldn't be happier to be part of the Alumni Association.
I agree with that. And I believe that we possibly might have Mr. Phi Theta Kappa himself here.
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome, welcome. So I know that you've been with Phi Theta Kappa for a couple of years, Kenneth, and I know I had the opportunity to serve with you.
Just a few.
So what are some great benefits that you've had?
So for me, I guess the reason I still do all this is because I give back to those students that are coming behind me. But yet I still learn. Every time I'm doing something at one of the events, I learn something either on the topic that's being studied at that time or other ways to do things. So it's as much a benefit to still learn and have all those opportunities to grow on a personal level, as well as helping students continue with their education and their growth as they continue on throughout the organization.
I agree with that. And I think that when Neil and I were talking about this, that was one of the main benefits, and we'll go over some more here in just a second, is that I think that this past year, if you were involved in some of the programming, that there might have been something said about legacy. And for me, I love it because the chapter that I came from, when I was engaged at that time as a member, we had never had the opportunity to step on the international platform stage as far as an award recipient. And it's not about the award at all, but it's about the fact that we were able to do programming at our college and to be recognized, on the international platform of the hard work and the collaboration that we had with our administrators, with the other faculty, with the other students. During my time, we created a food pantry. And so it was just an amazing experience that really transformed me. And so my greatest benefit is having the opportunity and being allowed the privilege of working with our current members and creating and curating that experience for our members going through these same types of things, watching them go through these same type of experiences and being transformed the way that I was transformed. And I will tell you, just as I just got chill bumps talking about it, but there is no greater pleasure and experience to see someone when they have that aha moment, and you can tell that moment right there created probably a new ideology or philosophy on how they think about things and how they're going to practice in life. And so that's one of my greatest benefits of being an alum, is still being allowed to do these things with these members. So what are some other things? One of the things that a lot of alums don't realize is that we still have so many benefits through Phi Theta Kappa headquarters, such as Geico, Global Fit, Lenovo. We get these different discounts, we get these different opportunities that a lot of the members, they get these benefits too. So we are still able to use these benefits. Now, one of my favorite programming that Phi Theta Kappa puts on is the Leadership Development Studies. When I joined Phi Theta Kappa, I had already served in the military for 5 years, and I still learned so much through the Leadership Development Studies, and especially since it's been re-imaged and it's more media, it's an amazing program. And as alumni, we still have access to that. Another great program is Ptk Connect. That is a program that I suggest if you have not gone in, updated your profile, you have no idea what you're missing. If you're looking for a job, they are currently rolling out a program for PTK Business that's going to give you that opportunity. I'm sure that you've seen in some of the programming that Phi Theta Kappa headquarters put on earlier with Apple, that they are looking for Phi Theta Kappa students as employees. So if you're an alum and you haven't gone in there and updated your skill sets or any of your certifications, I suggest that you do that. Go to ptk.org, and under benefits, you'll find PTK Connect, and definitely update your profile there. Who here has gone through any of this programming? I see Dr. Hargis with the sneeze and a hand raise. Yeah, you thought I didn't catch you. Have you gone through the new leadership development studies? Do you feel comfortable talking a little bit about it?
You're talking to me.
Me? I don't know why I chose the.
I did the study. I didn't realize that I could do it because I didn't do the first competitive edge. And so when it was updated and it was open to everybody, so I've done the 5-star for the advisor, but then I did the competitive edge that's been redone. And I think it's phenomenal. I've been in the leadership aspect for, well, I'm kind of old,
A couple years.
since the 90s. And I just think the program really is comprehensive. It really takes you through a lot of different avenues and what you might encounter. I like the fact that it gets updated on a regular basis, and it recently got updated with a lot of Zoom capabilities and issues that you might deal with in the interaction there. I didn't even realize that imposter, what is it called?
Imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. So I learned some new stuff. I've also recently done the Research Edge, which was phenomenal. So any alumni who are thinking they're going to go to like a master's or a PhD program, the Research Edge is so instrumental in teaching you how to do proper research, especially with the fake news, and the internet has really, I think, changed how we do research. And so Research Edge provides an exceptional background on how to do proper research, citations, what to look at, and different avenues of research, because a lot of people are like, oh, you got to read a book or you got to read an article. And so it gives you a different perspective there. So I think that the programs are just really, they move with the times, they update them, they're useful for whatever aspect in life you're at. Like I said, I mean, I already have my PhD, but when I read the Research Edge, it gave me a new perspective. It helped me talk to my students better about it. And so I can't say enough about the Edge programming. That's one of my favorite things to talk about. So do it. It's amazing, and it's there for you for life, right? That's my favorite thing.
Brandon can also add on to that.
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry. Hargis tried to say no. No, so I echo everything that Dr. Hargis said about the different Edge programs, and they're always adding to that, like Healthcare Edge, right, just launched. And I think that's one of the greatest things to remember as an alum is that I think a lot of times we think about all this programming as members, and then let's say you get through, you know, your time at community college and you move on, and this program doesn't go away. And as they roll out new versions of it, you always have access to that because you're a member for life. And so you always have access to that wonderful development. I tell my students in the chapter, again, speaking specifically to the edges, is that maybe you're not really interested in employment edge right now because you're transferring and you're focused on school and what have you. But when you're ready to start looking for a job, right, it's there for you. So you can always go back to that. And then speaking specifically to the leadership development studies, I know Dr. Hargis and I both have been certified as trainers under it, but it too goes through revamping every few years. And recently it did and has moved wholly online now, which I think is really fantastic because you can work your way through that. And it has a lot of different units of study on there, team building and servant leadership and things like that. And what I love about them revamping that and making it fresh, even if you've done it before, you should do it again because they have new case studies that are really relevant to the time that we're in. They keep some of the classics, but incorporate new media and that really allows you to connect in what's going on in the world right now. And so I'm just really, I love that these benefits remain for you. I think that we forget that they're there and accessible for you as an alum, as you continue on in your careers and want that professional development. Kenneth mentioned that, you know, he learns and grows every time through his engagement, and we all need some type of personal and professional growth and development, and all of this stuff is here for you.
Absolutely, and I completely agree with that. I see that Tammy in the messages put that she went through the old one. Ooh, Tammy, that was the old one way back then.
Yes, sir.
I also went through that one. That's why I said that. So one of the things that's not on here, but definitely on ptk.org, is that I think that we can all, in agreement, say that we like money. So even though there's not as much as a member, there is still scholarship opportunities that's on the Phi Theta Kappa website that is sponsored by Geico. And so I definitely say, if you need money, take a look at that, see if you're eligible for it, and fill that application out, and take advantage of that. So we've got to the questions part, but this is actually going to be reversed. So I actually have some questions for the advisors. How are some of the ways that us alum have helped you in your chapter that definitely was a life-saving moment? And what more could you ask for us? That way we can get that out there and see if we can't make a plan to help you.
So,
I saw Dr. Hargis. She was looking for that unmute button.
No, I always have something to say. Well, one of the things that we started doing, I know service is really big for a lot of Phi Theta Kappa members. And personally, I'm not attached to a synagogue or a church or whatnot. So I get a lot of my service through Phi Theta Kappa. And I've noticed that our alumni continue to enjoy supporting our service. And so even after they're gone, we have this yearly Cougar-thon event that we do, that we raise money for Children's Miracle Network. Before that, it was Relay for Life. And our alumni have been big supporters of that. And so whenever we need assistance, either with raising money or getting the word out or whatnot, I can just hit up my alumni and they're there for us. So that's one. Two, induction. When it is face-to-face, it takes a lot. And I have always in the past enjoyed bringing alumni back to talk about their stories. And so that's usually my favorite kind of keynote speaker. And I like to keep in touch with my alumni to see how they're doing and how they've utilized their Phi Theta Kappa membership or any of the programs available so that they can come back. And I, of course, remind them to put that on their resume because they've done some public speaking, and that assists them as well. In addition, I use them for homework writing. It's nice to have somebody who knows what the homework writing and the importance of the homework writing, and sometimes the time constraints of the homework writing. So if I shoot an email to one of my alumni, James, and I'm like, hi, I need this by 5 and it's 2. And he's not going to be like, are you insane? He's like, oh, it's one of those years. Sure. No problem. Versus one of my colleagues who are like, excuse me, I need 3 weeks notice and like $100. And then programming itself, I like to network with my people and they give us really great ideas for future programming, or they just contact me and they're like, hey, are you guys still doing HIA? What's the theme this year? Hey, we have some of this stuff. Will this help you? And so I can't say enough about the networking opportunities. And as somebody who has changed careers 3 times now, I mean, I'm not done yet, so there could be more. I know that networking is like super important. And I always remind my students that you're continuing to grow, and Phi Theta Kappa, you can put that on your resume going forward. It's not just member, it's any action that you assist us with can go on that resume future. So I've brought back people who have helped us with audio visual things at inductions because they were looking for a job in that industry and they didn't have hands-on experience, and that assisted them in getting that on their resume. So a lot of people, they'll just keep in touch with me and say, hey, I need some experience in this. Do you have anything that I can do and assist you with? So we need you as much as you need us, and the alumni. I just think you continue to grow. And if you've been in the program, then that's one of the things you enjoy. The hallmarks don't go away just because you graduate. So we use you.
Absolutely. And I love one of the things that you said is that you give experience when that alumni needed it. And so I think that that's one of the things that a lot of alums forget is that, you know, as a member, when we were talking about recruiting, we so often talk about how this is going to be a resume builder. But as an alum, it continues to be a resume builder. So getting that real world experience, taking, you know, what we learn in the books and actually applying it. And so I know that that's definitely one of the things that helped me and developed me, is having the opportunity to continue to help these conventions and really think about every time, you know, we have a convention, overcoming some of the things that, why is the restroom 6 miles down the road that we need one bus for 300 students? You know, having those opportunities to really work through that process, and you know, that continues to build my skill set. And so that's what I love about that. And I just wish a lot of the alums realized also. So Linda, as a regional coordinator, how can the alums better help serve the region? And what are some things that you utilize the alums for?
Well, today is a great example of that. No, I really, I try to plug in alumni where I see that there's like a skill set match, a desire to serve. And so like Brandon, when I moved into the role of regional coordinator, coming from the business world, I knew that he knew how to talk about money to people. And so him taking over director of sponsorships from me was just kind of a perfect match, because that's something I did when I was District 2 coordinator. And so I try to do that. I also have a what I've made as a goal for the Texas region is I want more newly transferring and graduating students to get involved as alumni, to join the TRAA and to just really engage with all of these opportunities. And so again, having a workshop like this where I partner someone who's a pretty recent alumnus like Neil with Brandon, right, is a great opportunity, and also gives you some different perspectives, right? Because Brandon has been an alumnus for a few years and Neil is just kind of entering this new world. And so I really try to seek those types of opportunities. Kenneth can tell you at convention, it's anything and everything. And sometimes it may even seem a little ridiculous because they're doing everything from making sure that like our college fair people and our food vendors know where to go, to filling water balloons for a fellowship event. But all of those things, while sometimes a little silly sounding, are important to making the events happen. They really are critical to this. And so it's not unusual to see Kenneth and Danny and Tammy and all of them out there just running crazy and doing those things we need. And I really appreciate, and again, particularly the TRAA for hosting things like the Walter B. Cooper Scholarship. They sell water, they do dollar wars, they do all of these things, not only to do our regular Golden Opportunity Scholarships for membership scholarships for individuals, but to do those bigger scholarships for students, hosting that, judging that, and providing the money for it. That is just a wonderful way to give back to the society. And so I just really appreciate that. I'm always looking for alumni who want to do these types of things, because they make these growth opportunities possible for our members. Coming on to the leadership team where there are openings, Cassie Garcia came from my chapter. She was the editor of our college newspaper for 2 years. She is an English major at her transfer institution. And so it made sense to me to use her as the editor of the Texan, because she has that skill set and I know I can put in her hands and she's not going to put anything out that makes the region look ridiculous. I've been using kind of recently transferring and graduating ROs who have kind of done the social media world with me for a year to help as social media director in the region. And so I'm always looking for those who want to, number one, be engaged, and then two, match those skill sets. And there are lots of opportunities here. I've never been known to turn away help. If people are like, hey, I want to do the thing, I'm eager to find those openings for you, because there's a lot of work here to be done, and we can do more and more if we have the volunteers to do it. And so you come to me and say, I want to do the things, and I'm going to find a place for you, because that means more members served. And that is my full focus on everything we do in the Texas region, is providing opportunities for our students.
So it sounds like one of the quotes that Neil had was, the quickest thing for you to utilize us is to let you know that we have free time, is what I'm hearing.
100%. And even if you don't have free time, just be like, hey, kinda, am I? And I'm going to just fill whatever time you got.
Absolutely. So I have one last question before we open it up to any questions in the audience. My question is for Kenneth. What is the quickest way someone graduating this year, what kind of roles and types of activities do you think that we could put them in?
So Right. This year, it's hard to say a lot. I mean, for some of the big stuff, such as regional conventions and stuff like that, it's going to depend if we go back to face-to-face or if we still stay virtual.
Absolutely.
The alumni, though, are planning a calendar right now. They have, we're planning some stuff in May. Some of it's face-to-face, some of it's virtual, trying to get people involved. So, I mean, we're trying to get some of that started to increase our engagement and get people involved and start to build some of those connections. So that stuff is just getting started. Our officers met last week and had talked about something in May for graduating individuals as well as new members. So we're trying to develop some of those virtual environments because we are so far spread out. It's hard to pull everybody together for a quick get together and do something like that. So our goals are to put more information out through social media, through emails, through things like that of our contacts, and keep people informed of what's going on.
Awesome.
That answered your question.
And it did. Thank you. For anyone out there, if you don't have that information or how to get in contact with Kenneth Rumke, again, go to the QR code or definitely send us an email and we can get that information for you. So for anyone out there who's thinking about becoming a TRA member or just getting engaged at any alumni level, do you have any questions out there or anything that we've gone over today? I think there's so many requests that the mics are clogged. Hold on just a second. Surely there's one question, or I'll go back to my old school ways and I'll just start calling on you.
I have a question.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so as somebody who isn't an alumni yet, how can those of us who are still in our chapters better utilize our alumni when we don't even necessarily know what to look for?
That's a great question. And I think that Neel will be able to talk about this since he does a lot of this for Alpha Mutah. Neel?
Well, yeah, what I think is, the previous alumni and also the ones that are going to be becoming alumni, you need to create this sort of a culture where you're going to be able to have this back and forth open communication with the officers or members and chairs, or however your chapter does it. But you should be able to have that open communication. One thing that my chapter has been trying to do is getting the officers to write journals about their entire year. So even if the officer is not available, even if the graduating officer is not available, they have the incoming officer has something to depend on, where they have notes from this officer, where okay, so you did this and you did that in your time. That's it helps bring some sort of continuity from the student perspective. So that's something that you as an alum can do. But now as an officer who is currently active, things to look for from alumni is how to write hallmarks. Definitely, what's the best way to communicate with your advisors? Because your advisors are also a vital part of the chapter in your year as an officer. So best way to communicate with your advisors. Then trying to explore your own leadership style. So some of these alum have definitely gone through a little bit of leadership training. We have attended TLC. We have done various sorts of leadership training seminars and stuff. So you can also help these officers discover their leadership styles. So those are some of the ways that officers can look for things from their alumni.
Can I add on to that a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I was going to say, one of the things that I really encourage you as officers, members, whatever, when you set your chapter goals, so let's say you're looking at your membership recruitment goal, right? I think it's a really good question to ask your advisors is there an alumnus who was really great at recruitment, who can really give us some tips from the student perspective of how they did it, right? And so think about those things where you might like, I don't know how to approach this. We want to do this thing, but I'm not really sure. We could improve our skill set. Because here's the thing, I do training for my officers, but what I have found over the years, it's kind of like in my classrooms where students don't listen to me. But the second I bring in somebody else, then like I bring in a Brandon and they're like, he's the smartest person ever. And I'm like, I said the same thing, but nobody listens to me. But no, they really like to hear from the people who did it. And so I always think that's a really great thing for members and officers to do is like, is there somebody who can help us, right? Who can give us tips, who's done the things, who can give us some support on a big project, maybe like a Cougar-thon or something like that, right? And then your advisors, because your advisors are the continuity of your chapters, are in the positions of knowing how to make those connections. And then I will also say as advisors, I try to be really intentional of inviting alumni to participate in things so that relationships kind of naturally build between new officers and alumni from previous years. So my chapter was very fortunate last week to be able to get together for PTK Catalyst, get together in person to watch it together. And I invited several alumni who remain involved with our chapter and want to, contribute. And I invited them to join us. And it was really nice because, we had our new officers sitting there talking with alumni, and it just kind of helps to build those relationships so that they feel comfortable reaching out, asking them for things. And so I think it's on both sides. I think officers can be really intentional about asking for those connections, and advisors can do better to facilitate those things. One thing that really stuck out to me, Teresa actually is the one who said it when she was a regional officer last year. I was saying something about, well, alumni can do X, Y, Z, because she was asking, for her chapter. And she was like, I had no clue that alumni were willing to do these things. And so I think that we can do a better job of educating what alumni are available to do. They're available to coach you on hallmarks and things like that. And so I think that education is really important, which again is one of the reasons we're having this workshop, because it's allowing you to know opportunities as you leave the community college, opportunities that are available for you, but it's also letting officers and members who are here watching now know what alumni are available to do today to help our chapters.
Absolutely. And just one of the things that I really want to touch on that I really like that Neel said is that your alumni, we've been through this process. We've been through these year-long projects, some of us 2 years. And how can I say this kindly? We've dealt with your advisors. We've been there when they're sleepy. We've been there when they're hungry. We've been there when they're tired. So, one of the things that I pride myself in is about effective communication. And so having, that person that you can go to and say, hey, do you think Linda would mind if I text her at 4 a.m. asking her about something that we were supposed to do yesterday? Probably not the best idea. But a lot of us know some of their communication styles. We know about their expectations, and we're able to relay that information to you on how to, better meet those expectations, on how to better plan those things. And especially if you're wanting to plan more things, how to get more approval from the advisor and get that trust. Because we've been there, we've done that, we've made mistakes, we've had failures, and we're there to tell you about them so you don't make the same mistakes. The other thing that I want to do is kind of answer your question, Anna, is how do we get alumni to be more engaged at your chapter? I will tell you, any alumni who's willing to help, there is no task that's too small. We are just happy and we feel privileged to be able to continue that relationship with the chapter. And so there is no such thing as, well, what would be appropriate to have the alum do? Like, we just want to be there. We want to help. We want to see your success. We want to see your chapter success. So just you reaching out to an alum, asking for help, that's basically the only step that you have to do is ask.
I agree with that. Like, you just have to ask.
Yeah. Anyone else have any questions?
I don't have a question, but can I further a comment that Kenneth made a little earlier?
Yeah.
Ken mentioned that one of our top priorities this year is to work on how we reach out and how we disseminate information. I just want to echo that and also add that one of the biggest things we're working on as well that's right in the same vein is accessibility. You know, we are here and we all want to help you. We really, really, really want to be there and share information and provide that continuity for you guys between year to year, project to project, and the transition from I'm now out of a 2-year school, now I'm into a 4-year school, or maybe it's 2-year career, whatever that may be. Sure, we have a lot going on, alumni do, but they're no different than your officers in your chapter, right? Sometimes we just have a lot going on, and that does not mean at all that we're not available and happy to help when we can. If we don't answer right away, ask us again. It just means that we missed it. But know that we're working hard behind the scenes to find a way to make it easier. We've, put together a Discord, but some people are Discord savvy, some are not. And the only way for us to be more available to you all as a region is to diversify the way you can get a hold of us. So just want to repeat all that, guys. Reach out to us. We want to be here for you any chance we can.
Absolutely. And one of the things that Tammy just put in there, you don't have to worry about alumni taking over your projects. We don't want to. We want to be there to support you. We've been there. We've done that. We want to be like that squeaky wheel that keeps the car moving, but we don't want to be the engine or the transmission. So if that's all the questions, commentary we have, that's really all that we had to present to you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
I'm sorry. I have a question.
Absolutely.
Okay. Hey Neil, I was in one of the at one of the training with Neil, so it's good to see him.
Hello.
I graduate like this spring or maybe this summer, depending on if they approve my one of my classes as a substitution. But I was thinking of returning to the 2-year college to do the AA program. So am I considered alumni once I graduate the first time, or am I considered alumni if I graduate a second time?
If you return to the community college, you will be a member in good standing again. It's whenever you're gone from the community college, whether you leave, you graduate, you transfer, whatever, that you move into alumni status.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for that clarity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought, because I've just been debating, because I'm so close with so many transfer credits from 2 decades ago that I can actually pursue a second associate degree. And so I didn't know if I should become an alumni member or stay as a current PTK member. So,
you'll stay as a current member as long as you're in the community college. But as soon as you finish at the community college, you join the TRAA and get involved as an alum.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mary.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to kind of go in there of what you said about as far as a member and the technicalities of being a member or being an alum. So one of the things that I want to remind you of is that as far as headquarters and the email addresses that we have, they typically have, I believe it's a 2-year before you go into the alum status. So if you graduate, we won't know that as far as the information that we have at headquarters until you reach out to us. So I strongly encourage, again, get in contact with TRA, get in contact with your chapter as soon as you graduate. I know Kenneth, he likes to snag you before you even get to graduation. He wants to make sure that we are locked and loaded and ready to go. So once you get that degree, now you're active with us. So kind of just think about that. Don't wait around for the email to come to you. Please reach out to us. That way we can get you involved and get you engaged.
Yes, thank you, James. That is a wonderful tip because a lot of people forget about that. When you join under your school email address and then you leave. And the only way we have to contact you is that old school email address that you no longer check or don't have access to anymore. So it's best that you change that when you leave the community college to a personal email that will travel with you wherever you may go, so that we can always stay in communication with you, and you'll always be able to sign into ptk.org and be able to connect to things like the leadership development studies and so forth. So yeah, definitely be sure that you keep that email address updated. And when you graduate, if you want it reflected in the system that you are now an alumni member, then your advisor can change that date for you, or you can contact headquarters to change that date for you. And by the same token, if for whatever reason you come back to the community college and you've been kind of categorized as an alum, but you've come back to the community college and now you're a member again, we can get that date changed for you. So just communicate either with your chapter advisor or headquarters, and we can adjust those dates accordingly for you.
Thank you. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, can I ask a quick question? Because I think I partially heard what you said, Miss Linder.
Yeah.
There's a date that it shows that our time is up or something. Like for mine, it says next
You're
year.
voted off the island. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, it does have, it auto populates a date in the system, and it's usually a 3 to 4 year timeline, whatever, from when you join.
Okay.
That they automatically put that you'll move over to alumni status. And so if you graduate before that time, then you can adjust it, or your advisor or headquarters can, to reflect that you've graduated now. Or like I said, if you return and need it moved back that you're a member, we can adjust it then as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Dr.
awesome.
Hargis asked a question. I think this is a question for Kenneth.
He answered me directly. Thank you. Sorry.
Never mind. Ignore me. Like my students. No, just kidding. Any other questions for Brandon or Neil or James or Kenneth? Lions and tigers and bears, oh my.
I have a random question.
No,
Shocked, I say.
I know, I'm sorry. So our alumni really like to get involved, and they ask me these questions all the time, which I don't understand, but there are chapters, alumni chapters at different universities, and they're like, do I have to join them? And I always just tell them to join the TRA. I'm biased, like I know Kenneth. So like I tell them to go there, but there are universities with alumni chapters, and I don't get what they do.
So it depends. I'll say it depends on the school, right? I don't think that, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that UTSA has a Phi Theta Kappa alumni chapter. But if you go to a place like A&M Commerce, they do. So different schools have them. And I will say membership in TRAA is not exclusive, meaning you can belong to more than one alumni association. So if you have on your transfer institution's campus, if you have an alumni chapter there that's active, I encourage you to join and get involved and do things with them, and then also join TRA so that you're part of that as well. Yeah, I mean, join all the things, do all the things.
Mary, there are three, you probably know it, there are 3 levels of alumni associations within Phi Theta Kappa.
Yeah, please explain them.
So you have the regional base, which is like TRA, that are cover a whole region, and they usually are there to help a region with their programming or whatever. Then you have a university base, as you were talking about, Texas A&M Commerce. Those chapters typically work to help the students adjust to the transfer from a 2-year school to a 4-year school. And then you have a community-based association, like we have the Alpha Gamma Pi Alumni Association that's in Austin, that a lot of times will work with a 2-year school or a geographic area. They still will work with other groups as well, but that's kind of their main focus, are those groups.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have a lot of alumni from your chapter who remain engaged, that's an opportunity for them. Maybe they want to start an alumni chapter, linked to your actual chapter, like Alpha Gamma Pi, and North Harris has one, right?
Yes,
yes. And chapters like that. And that's a really great opportunity to actually tap into your alumni and keep that networking going. All right. Any last questions for Brandon or Neil? Again, Kenneth, James, anybody? All right, so I will say thank you so much for the presentation. Thank you for everybody who shared information. That's one of the great things I love about Phi Theta Kappa is that everybody has different experiences and different information. And so collectively, like we can just dominate the world because we share all the things because we want everyone to have information and be successful. If anyone wants to contact Kenneth or James or Brandon or Neil, the easiest way, if you don't have their information, just reach out to me and I'm happy to make those connections for you so that you can get any additional information that you may need. I will tell you that Kenneth and Brandon's information is easily available on txptk.org because they're part of the leadership team, so you can connect with them directly that way. But for the others, I'm happy to help make those connections. Thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.